how do you do a glue joint? When you have your two halves, your top or for your toe body, and you want to glue join them. You want that to be perfect match line between two surfaces, and there's many different ways to do it. If you have a jointer, I guess is the easiest, and then you could try shooting board. You could try hand planing them with a jig or anything like that, but most of us have routers, and I found that doing it with a router is one of the easiest and precise ways to do it. And having a router, you have the option to handheld it or to have it in a router table, or there's even a third option, to have it in a jig. I have it in a jig and I'll show you in a moment, but first thing first. So one thing to remember is when you glue jointing two pieces of wood, reverse one of the pieces, because ideally you'll be jointing this at 90 degrees, but nothing is ideal, and the chances are you're slightly off, and by reversing one of the pieces you're canceling that angle that you might be off. Very easy to do. So the same mistake done twice cancel itself, and it leads to a perfect joint. I'm bleeding all over the place. I should have patched myself. Cut myself on a router bit. Didn't expect that. That's some sharp router bit from Radiant Tool, by the way. Radiant Tools. What's the bit I'm using here? Let me see. That's the trim bit I'm using. Radiant Tools 2-flute trimmer with adhesive gap. It's not the best suited for the job, but it's doing the job perfect from all the other cutters I have at the moment. Yeah, the temptation is to glue those two pieces, to stack those two pieces together and trim the edge at the same time, but then you will not have the benefit of canceling that slight angle that you will inevitably have in an imperfect world. Even if you do it on a CNC, nothing is perfect. So do yourself a favor, cancel the natural mistakes that we do. Straight edge, very important to have one. I'm leaving just half a millimeter meat. Half a millimeter will do. There we go. Good to go. Now we're doing the second piece. All I need is a fraction of a millimeter, and I'm eyeballing it. That should be good enough. Just a fraction of a millimeter. That edges, I've tried to do it manually, but I failed on the shooting board. Tried and I tried and I tried, and I figured that's not how it's going to happen. Some people, a lot of people use masking tape and super glue, but I found that a good double adhesive does the job as much, if not better, because you're not risking of that super glue leaking through the masking tape and making your life harder after. If you want to stain would not get well in a place where you have super glue. So now those two pieces will match as perfect as they can, and you will have no gap whatsoever. There is a difference in the height between the two pieces here, but that will be resolved later. What was the most important part is to have this perfect joint. And of course the best way to check perfect joint is to shine it against light. Go against the light and you shine, and you shouldn't have any light. That's how you do it. So this is before the routing, when I tried to freehand it. That's the result, how much light you have Shouldn't have any light, but I have plenty of light here. And that's not entirely freehand. I use the shooting board with a track, with the proper shooting plane and everything, and still failed. So there it is. Not skilled enough, obviously, to do it by hand. So the machine it is.